Do 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 do. Bum 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 bum. Dun 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 dun. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. How we doing? We doing good. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, working on the Declassified Maximum Security Survival Guide. And we are working on Chapter 5 right now, which is all about the correctional officers, COs, and the correction staff in general. We talk about nurses in here. We talk about a lot of things. Um, welcome, join, and feel free to comment. Welcome. Comment and join in on the conversation. Ba-na-na-na. Okay. We ready to go? We ready to work this thing out? We ready to do it? All right, let's do it to it. 3 books sounds like plenty until your family and friends start sending you books and you have that fantasy. Oh, hang on. Leprechaun's group was just searched, so I gave him things I wanted to make sure weren't taken. They were mostly kosher oatmeal packs and plastic cheese. I then set to hiding my other contraband. In jail, you're only allowed to have 3 of things. In jail, you're only allowed to have 3 of things. 3 t-shirts, 3 socks, and 3 books. Asking why this is will get you an "I just work here" response, which is super rude, okay? This is my home, this is where I'm living. I want to know the rules, and I want to know why the rules exist. So saying that I just work here, super rude in my opinion. 3 books sounds like plenty until your family and friends start sending you books and you have that fantasy or crime series that you still need to read the last 2 books of. You'd give some of your books to another inmate to hold on to, but let's do detainee to hold on to, but you did that with Charlie and he got taken to the hole and lost you your books. Now you'll never learn if Pippi and Pony, let's capitalize these names since they are names. You'll never know if Pippi and Pony ever avenged the death of her half-brother. Now you'll never know if Pippi and Pony ever avenged the death of her half-brother's lover. Her half-brother's lover. Her half-brother's lover. So to avoid this heartache, I hid my books. The place COs never found them was under the bunk. The place COs never found them was under the bunk, behind the bottom cubby. The downside is the books are hard to get to. The downside was the books were hard to get to. I had to use a broom. When it came to keeping my chip bag safe, the best hiding spots were between the bunk's pole, and the wall, under the desk cubby to the far left corner. Behind the toilet paper roll or inside a sock. My shower head, I really didn't want to lose. My shower head, I really didn't want to lose. Comma. So I kept it in my pocket. Condiments I hid in chip bags. I asked why we can't keep condiments if the point of food being contraband is so it doesn't go bad. The response I got back was, "That's the rules." If I had any food day of the search, I wasn't able to give Leprechaun. If I had food any day of the search that I wasn't able to give to Leprechaun, I'd hide it at the bottom of my garbage bag. Some deputies understand that what they're looking for are weapons and drugs, so they'll ignore the little stuff. Those are the best ones, let me tell you. Absolute powerhouses, guys who decide they are going to be cool. Guys who are like, okay, I know that what I'm looking for is drugs. I know what I'm looking for are weapons. I'm going to let the small stuff go because, come on, it's nobody cares. Nobody cares about your leftover food. Just let it go. But some CEOs are power trip, and they do. They care about the little stuff. On the other hand, there are CEOs who will even throw away your juice packets and your organizational cookie trays. On the other hand, there are CEOs who will even throw away juice packets and organizational cookie trays. On the other hand, there are CEOs who will even throw away juice packets and organizational cookie trays. Which, come on, man, why are you messing with my cookie trays? There's no telling who's going to search the cell. Some of them will even throw away your origami animals. As I finished hiding my last origami swan, the group on their timeout was locked down for maintenance. The upstairs shower had gone cold. Forcing everyone to the downstairs shower. 8 people sharing one shower when you only have 3 hours was incredibly frustrating. More than once, someone didn't get a chance to wash. Plus, the added traffic to one shower made it quite gross. While we were excited... What is going on here? Okay. While we were excited to get the shower back, the maintenance work was eating into a lot of groups' timeout. A lot of groups' time out. Leaving some with only half to a third of their timeout. I don't like saying timeout twice there. It's just a funny sentence. Well, we're excited to get the shower back. The maintenance work was eating into a lot of groups' free time, leaving some with only half to a third of their time out. Free time. The shower being right between mine and Jackson's houses made some of the work super noisy. We could also hear them talk. Can't believe we have to repaint the floor. It's like, why? Second handyman. What we should be doing is painting a bullseye on the ground. No, what we oughta do is castrate all these rapists and murderers. In the court of corrections staff opinion, innocent until proven guilty didn't exist. As the 2 coverall men started to leave, Jackson gave a shout. 2 men looked at each other and mumbled back and forth in a mocking tone. Oh, real professional, super professional. We're professional, crazy professional. As they walked out of the pod. Yep, incredibly professional. Doing my best to ignore Dumb and Dumber, I turned to my playing cards. I decided to open up the worthless deck Mr. Hell's Angel had left me. In his psychotic state of schizophrenia... I'm totally butchering that, aren't I? Hang on. Mental health. Okay. Yeah, I was way off. Schizophrenia. Clearly I don't have it since I don't know how to spell it. That's the standard, right? You don't have something if you don't know how to spell it. Doing my best to ignore Dumb and Dumber, I turned to my playing cards. I decided to open up the worthless deck Mr. Hell's Angel had left me. In his psychotic state of schizophrenia, he'd bent every single card in half both ways. He'd bent every single card in half both ways. Knowing that I was due to be searched, I decided to have a little fun. I took all 4 queens out of the deck. I got up on my bunk and slid the queen of hearts in between the metal slits in the roof so she was looking down on me while I slept. I found this oddly comforting over the next few nights. Standing on the toilet, desk, and sink, I stretched as far as possible, placing the remaining queens in the metal slits by the door, light, and in the exact center of the wall. In the exact center of the cell. They didn't want me to hang things in my cell. Okay. Well, I hoped the CO who tried to take the cards down was 5'0". Saying up things for the deputies to find was kind of fun. I started brainstorming other things to hide. By clicking 2 soap bars together, I got a pile of soap crystals. I cut them up, made a couple lines, and put some rolled up paper next to them. I'm sure the guy who snorted soap would be a conversation starter among the COs. Next, I took hot water and peeled the outer layer of a juice packet away, leaving a funny-looking plastic baggie with white powder in it. This I hid under my pillow. Next, I filled 2 empty shampoo bottles with grape juice. Next, I filled 2 empty shampoo bottles with grape juice and taped them together. I thought maybe it'd keep them guessing as to why. I had no idea how I'd explain the why behind it. Behind grape juice bottles. Sitting at the desk, feeling proud of myself, I thought about ways to outdo what I'd done. That sentence hurts me. Sitting at the desk, feeling proud of myself, I thought about ways to outdo what I'd done. To that end, I began to write. I started with big bold letters at the top of the page, impossible to miss. Deputy McGruff. Impossible to miss. And continued to write until I had a full letter. Deputy McGruff. I can't hide my feelings for you a second longer. McGruff, you are my soulmate. Every time you flex your athletically chiseled arms, my loins burn to enter your supple round rear as I stare at you now. Licking your moist whisker-covered lips, I dream of what they would feel like pressed against my waiting neck. Excuse me, I need to stop yawning. Jeez Louise. Drink some water and wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Trevor. There we go. Okay. Pressed against my neck. Against my waiting neck. I know you feel the same. How could you not? Every time our eyes meet, you can't help but feel the electric attraction resonating a passion and desire that burns with the heat of 1,000,000,000,000 gas giants. Our love runs so deep, it's truly overflowing. Feeling it as deep as I do, I'm sure you'll understand why I couldn't keep it to myself any longer. The other inmates are excited for us, and I can't wait to see where this relationship takes us. I know it's scary, but I'm sure as we begin sharing our love with the other deputies, you'll see how happy they are for us. Of course, telling your wife is going to be hard. Don't worry. I'll make it easy on you and tell her myself once my friends find her on social media. I'm sure a quick message will help make for an understanding and smooth transition. Don't fret. I'm great with kids, and I'm happy to facilitate their growth and development while you're at work. I know this is hard, just like our cocks when we're together, but in the end, it'll be worth it. You don't choose love, it chooses you. You don't choose love. Love chooses you. And I'm so thankful it's chosen us. McGruff, I will be all you need. Following my heart, Trevor Altman. AKA Big 400. I put the love note under my mattress, where they'd be sure to see it clear as 1,000,000,000,000 gas giants. I think that's my favorite part of the whole letter right there. 1,000,000,000,000 gas giants. When the search finally came 3 days later, I was honestly disappointed McGruff wasn't the one conducting the shakedown. As I re-entered my house, I found the Queen of Hearts crumpled up in the toilet. The other 3 cards were left alone, I assume because the CEO couldn't get to them. Either that, or they didn't look at my ceiling. The soap lines had been wiped off the desk. The paper baggie and love note were all gone. I assumed the love note would make its way to McGruff. That thought made me smile. Let's say that. There's a better way for that sentence. That thought gave me a smile. That thought gave me a smile. I am pleased to announce no real contraband was taken in the search. The next time McGruff came into the pod, as much as I tried, he refused to look my way. It's like he was trying his hardest to refute our love. Oh, poor guy. The next time McGruff came into the pod, as much as I tried... Hang on. I'm pleased to announce that no real contraband I cared about was taken in the search. There we go. Alright, so this word down here keeps coming up. I don't think I'm spelling gaucho correctly. Let's look it up real quick. Gouache, a method of painting using opaque pigments. Gaucho. Gaucho! Okay. So gaucho is Gaucho. A gaucho is a skilled horseman reputed to be brave and unruly. The figure of the gaucho is a folk symbol of Argentina, Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil, and the south of Chilean... Okay, so we are spelling gaucho, Gaucho. Gaucho. After a few conversations, I started to think gaucho might be a crazy old black man. And then I talked about my case because I thought he was my investigator. But really, it was that damn detective come to try and make me incriminate myself again. What? I drug out the word for added emphasis. Getting Gaucho rambling about all the apparent conspiracies surrounding his case was quickly becoming a favorite pastime. Yep, 'cause I didn't recognize it was him on account he was wearing a beard. Yes, a fake beard with a handlebar mustache. But don't you worry. No, sir, 'cause I get goddamn by the balls. I'm gonna represent myself in court. They don't want me to, but I'm gonna, and they can't stop me. No, sir. Then, after I win, I'm gonna sue 'em. I'm gonna sue the county. I'm gonna sue the sheriff's office. I'm gonna sue this jail. I'm gonna make a fortune, and that's the best revenge. There ain't nothing they hate more than a black man with money, let me tell you. And boy, did I let him tell me. While suppressing my chuckles, I decided nothing would make me happier than watch Gaucho represent himself. Oh, the poor judge who has to try and control Gaucho during one of his southern rants. Southern rants where he tells them youngsters how it is. If I could watch the trial, I would be so happy. Rumor wreck filled the echo. Filled the echo pod. Echo pod? Echoey. Let's see. How do we say echoey? Using echo as an adjective. The adjective echoing comes from the noun echo. Sounds repeatedly. So is echoey not a word? Echoey. Echoey. There we go. I fixed it, guys. I fixed it. Rumor wreck filled the echoey pod, sending my fellow inmates and I out to the yard while the COs grabbed someone to chain up. They'd come for Gaucho. We watched as they set to shackling him for transport. They cuffed him one hand to his midsection. Then went to cuff the other as Gaucho interrupted. That's my hurt arm, sah. Okay, replied the deputy. Well, I need to cuff you. No, you don't. They ain't been cuffing me, and I've got doctor's notes and paperwork and everything. I'll add that Gaucho had been to the hospital several times for his arm and shoulder. The deputies had never cuffed his hand before. Cuffed his hurt hand before. He couldn't do anything with it anyway. The CO tugged his arm, and Gaucho gave a yelp of pain. And Gaucho let out. The CO tugged his arm, and Gaucho let out a yelp of pain. The CO tugged his arm, and Gaucho let out a yelp of pain. The deputy next to the rec door said, I hate this fucking nigger, in a hushed but still audible tone. Gaucho refused to go if they had to cuff him. Then the judge issued a drag order. 8 deputies came in and dragged him in front. Gaucho refused to go if they had to cuff him. Gaucho refused to go if they had to cuff him, so the judge issued a drag order. 8 deputies came and dragged him in front of the judge with a smile. He went begrudgingly, but without a fight. The CO would get caught saying a few. The CO who used the slur would get caught saying a few off-color remarks, making me believe his racism was genuine. I'll add that in my experience, most of the COs are great enough guys, and at least not outwardly racist. Tap, tap, tap. Mr. Altman! I hate waking up to keys tapping on my door. Tap, tap, tap. Mr. Altman! I hate waking up to keys tapping on my door. Metal on metal is so loud. Tap, tap, tap. Mr. Altman! Let's throw that up there. Fine, I'm up. I stumbled out of the bed, wild hair flowing in my jufro. Flowing out of my jufro. Fine, I'm up. I stumbled out of the bed, wild hair flowing out of my jufro. Yes. Two COs were at my door with paperwork. Mr. Altman, we're here to give you paperwork so you can prepare for your disciplinary hearing. Well, that's one thing. Well, that's one way to wake me up quick. Well, that's one way to shake me out of a sleepy grog. Disciplinary hearing? Yes. What for? For what? Graphic video visit. Oh, I stood in shock, not sure what to say. I'm sure surprise was all over my face. I stood in shocked silence, not sure what to say. I'm sure surprise was all over my face. Don't worry, you aren't going to the hole or anything. Just 30-day suspension of your video privileges. Don't worry. You aren't going to the hole or anything. Just a 30-day suspension of your video privileges. Wait, I can't go a month without seeing my family. I took the paperwork as they closed the door slot and left. Well, that was the last thing I expected. In the morning, waking up to a major infraction. I took a look at the papers. The inmate encouraged a female visitor to expose herself. Yes, I did, and what a female she was, too. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed beauty with an ass for days. How could I not ask her to take off all her clothes and slowly crawl towards me? I hadn't enjoyed a woman's body in over 150 days. The sight of the female form was an image to covet and treasure. How could that be wrong? I didn't remember seeing any rules about this in the inmate manual, so I set to prepare for my hearing by reading through all the infractions on the table. A disciplinary hearing sounds like a big deal, but it's really just two COs asking you what happened, or more accurately, why you did it. They also ask you the questions right in the middle of the pod, where all the other inmates can hear. Given the nature of my infraction, I didn't appreciate that. I explained to the deputies. I guess my infraction wasn't worth a sergeant's time. A sergeant's time. That the manual... Nope, not uppercase. That the manual... Thank you. Didn't say that what I did was an infraction. Yes, it does, replied the deputy. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Okay. Can I show you the manual? Sure. I brought up... Geez Louise, I clearly don't know how to spell manual. I brought up the manual and showed that the only examples of video visit misuse were things like sharing your PIN and allowing others to make visits for you. This isn't the updated manual, was the response I got. Well, it's the only one we inmates have. Well, you still did it. I didn't know it was a major infraction. Well, you should have been aware of it. How could I have been? It's not in the manual. It's still video misuse. I don't think enjoying the image of my significant other's body is a misuse of the video visits, and I don't think I should get in trouble for something that isn't even in the manual. As being an infraction. It isn't even in the manual as... And I don't think I should get in trouble for something that isn't even in the manual. The deputy gave a sigh. Will you sign the form saying you understand the infraction? No, I also don't think I should get no visits with my family for 30 days for something not listed as an infraction in the manual. I'm saying manual a lot. I'm going to take out that last one. No, I also don't think I should get no visits with my family for 30 days for something not listed as an infraction. 30 days is standard. This isn't a standard situation, and 30 seems excessive. 7 or 10 is more than sufficient. 30 days is standard. We stared at each other for a moment. Clearly nothing I had to say mattered. Are you going to sign this? He asked. You don't have to. Oh, so now it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter what I do. If it's the same outcome if I sign it or not, it's the same outcome regardless of if I sign it. If it's the same outcome regardless of if I sign it, cite it. If I sign it, then I guess I won't. Then I won't. I figured then I wasn't really admitting to anything. Jail is a true bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. I'm terrible at spelling things. In case you didn't already know that. But it never favors the inmate, even when the inmate discovers that the I hasn't been dotted and the T stands uncrossed. Jail is a true bureaucracy, but it never favors the inmate, even when the inmate discovers that the I hasn't been dotted and the T stands uncrossed. 30 days without seeing my family, friends, or my daughter was extremely difficult and depressing. Gotta take that comma out. 30 days without seeing my family, friends, or my daughter was extremely difficult and depressing. I'd have rather gone to the hole for 3 to 10 days, as you do for most infractions. I would have given up all my other inmate rights for a chance to see my daughter. See my child. My cellie was being taken to the hole, giving me the house to myself. Giving me the house to myself again. As the CO gathered up the last of his things, as the CO gathered up the last of my former cellies, as the CO gathered up the last of my former cellies' things and left, I hopped on my bunk. I closed my eyes with a smile and threw my hand down my pants. When you're stuck with a cellie, your lovemaking is pretty much confined to the shower. I don't know how science says it's possible, but water makes a man's lovemaking dry and uncomfortable, with too much friction. When you've only masturbated in the shower for a month and a half, you take advantage of your alone time. Not knowing when I might get a new cellie, I leapt into the throes of self-pleasure. When you only have your sexual imagination to work with, you'd be surprised the things your mind comes up with. You'd be surprised what your mind comes up with. When you only have your sexual imagination to work with, you'd be surprised the things your mind throws your way. While using my right hand, I sat on my left, so it went numb. I could switch to it and pretend it was someone else. Once numb, I could switch to it and pretend it was someone else. Someone else's hand. In my mind, I was flying on a private jet. Champagne was being served by nude stewardesses who were at my command. I was the director, having all manner of lesbian scenes acted out for me. As two of the girls' tongues danced around each other, I stood up and, after being incarcerated for so long, my bodily joy didn't last. My bodily joy didn't last. My bodily joy didn't last longer than a minute or two. Feeling satisfied, weak, and deflated, I took off my left sock and mopped up. Laying on my bed, prepping myself for round two, I heard the pod door open. Laying on the bunk, prepping myself for round two, I heard the pod door open. I could hear the COs coming up the stairs before making it to my cell. Rec yard, gentlemen. What? We weren't supposed to be searched now. We're always searched before, after, or in the middle of our time out. Walking to the rec yard with my other inmates, I prayed to God no one noticed my hard-on. Standing in the rec yard, I did my best to face the wall. "Why do you only have one sock on?" asked Gramps. I looked down at my one bare foot. My one bare foot. "Just wasn't ready for a search," I replied sheepishly. He let it go at that, and I did my best to ignore the other's looks. As my junk cooled down, I started thinking about what else they might find in my room. Does a jizz? Hang on. Let's look on here. Yep, J-I-Z. J-I-Z. Good. Good. Does a jizz sock somehow count as contraband? I was pretty sure there was a rule against storing bodily fluids. I was pretty sure there was something in the manual against storing bodily fluids. As I returned to my cell, I found the CEO, who searched my house, oddly quiet. There, in the middle of my cell, was a still very fresh love-covered sock. It had been relocated from my bunk to the floor. The rest of my house seemed untouched, like the deputies stopped the search after his first find. This was so good, I couldn't help but share what happened with my group. Later, Jackson said to the CEOs, "So I heard you found a surprise in 26 House." The deputy's face went red as he quickly said, "Oh, that wasn't me," and left. I swear, some of the CEOs never talked to me the same way after that. Our interactions became far more abrupt. Woohoo! Go team, go! That was good, guys. Chapter 5 is done, y'all. Chapter 6, Bad Selly. Whew. I got 3 notifications on Twitter. There we go. Close all. Okay. Well, let's turn on our little light here. Bad Selly. A crazy, stupid, mean, stinky, or fat celly can make your time incarcerated a nightmare. True story, y'all. Fat cellies are on the list because they all stink up the cell and are often slobs. I can't stand living with a messy or dirty human being. And why? Your cellmates in Max, there's no escaping them for 22 hours a day. On the flip side, a good celly allows for good conversation time, playing games, and making time go by faster. Another person can also give you a feeling of camaraderie and let you know you're not alone. Dr. Nielsen was an amazing cellmate. He was intellectually stimulating. Conversation flowed. We talked for hours about everything. Our home life, work, religion, politics. It was all fair game. We challenged each other at chess, even though I won most, and taught each other card games. He was also a great inmate because he bought commissary and was kind enough to split a bag of chips or the last section of a Kit Kat. Kit Kat bar. I was grateful for any reprieve from the unsweetened food we consumed every day. Every single day, eating the same thing, guys. Ugh, every day. But, like all good things, wonderful cellmates don't last. Nielsen was bailed out after 3 weeks of trying to find the tens of thousands of dollars for the bail bondsman. We fist bumped as he left. I wanted a hug. A week passed before I was given a new cellmate. My first thought when I met Buster was how badly the man needed a shower. He reeked of BO. Hi, my name's Trevor, I said, extending my hand. He gave me a limp shake. I'm Buster. I have severe autism and Asperger's. I can read at a 3rd grade level. What the fuck is he doing in my cell? In my house? What the fuck is he doing in my house? As if I'd asked him to tell me his life story, he told me his life story. Much of it revolved around his cat. I was adopted by my mom's. People make fun of me for that. That's why I have brass knuckles to threaten them with. That's why I have brass knuckles to threaten them with. I like weapons. I've had a few jobs, but I get fired because I forget to go. Haha. But I get disability, so it's okay. I have a girlfriend I like a lot. We live together in my basement. I hope she remembers to take care of my cat. I love my cat more than anything. He enjoyed talking about himself. So do I. But I discuss myself in a more conversational manner. I have letters from her. My girlfriend, not my cat. She thinks I deserve to be in here because sometimes I get angry and like brass knuckles. A dangerous combination. Want to see? Everything he said was loud. I tried my best to reply. You know, Buster. I'm whoosh. The letters were in my lap. Soon I understood that his girlfriend was also differently abled, and that she was jealous of all the attention Buster gave his feline companion. Okay, who gets... I know she's differently abled, but come on. Who on earth gives a cat... she's jealous of a cat? She's jealous of an animal? That's pretty weird, guys. Pretty weird. I began to wonder how violent things got between the two oddly abled and wished I could observe in their natural habitat. It took a while to shut him up. I tried playing a few games with him. Most card games were too complicated, and I didn't want to play Go Fish. Chess was out of the question, and he wouldn't play checkers because we didn't have real checkers pieces. Having real pieces was very important to him. We ended up sitting on our bunks reading. At least I read. Trevor? Yes, Buster? What does sympathy mean? The dictionary is on the desk. Well, I don't really like using the dictionary because it takes so long. Okay. That's stupid. I wish his voice wasn't so monotone. Trevor? What? Can you tell me what it means? Can you tell me what it means? No. Irritation was rising. Why can't you? Because I don't want to, Buster. I'm reading my book. You have a dictionary you can use. But I don't like using the dictionary. It takes so long. Tough. His voice inflection never changed. After about 30 seconds of silence, he asked, "Can't you tell me what it means?" Can't you tell me what it means? Buster, I'm reading. And you're no good at multitasking? And you're no good at multitasking? My head flooded with possible answers. I decided to go with the one that had the best chance of ending the conversation. No. No, I am not good at that. Oh. I sat back, enjoying the silence. Enjoying the silence. Was that it? It was over? I enjoyed my book in silence with a smile on my face. Bam! I bolted up and looked at the door. Buster had thrown his book against it. I yelled, "What the hell?" He looked up at me from his bunk in a calm and innocent manner, like he had no idea why I was shouting. "Why'd you throw that?" There are too many big words in it. That doesn't mean you have to throw it. I didn't hurt anybody. Clearly, arguing with Buster was a waste of time. I did my best to read. Buster got his letters out and read through them. And read through those. Trevor? What? Do you think my mom still loves me? How would I know that? I asked what you thought, not what you knew. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Technically. This conversation, guys, I'm getting pissed off just doing this. I don't know. Probably. That's good. Another 3 minutes of silent reading before Trevor? What? My tone was filled with irritation. With irritation and a hint of anger. Do you think the prosecutor will give me a good deal? From what you've told me, probably not. Oh, that's too bad. 2 minutes later. Trevor? What? What on earth? What on earth are you doing? Oh, guys, just this conversation. I'm having a hard time. It's all coming back to me. It's flashbacks. It really is big, giant, beaming flashbacks. 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 2 minutes later. What? Need some water. Some water, and now I'm good. I am much better now. 2 minutes later. Trevor? What? Do you think they threw away my weapons? Probably. Oh. 4 minutes. 4 minutes later. Trevor? What? What on earth? Let me tell you. What? Do you think my girlfriend good care of my cat? You said she doesn't like your cat. So you probably... So she probably drowned your cat in the bathtub. Five seconds of silence before I added your cat's dead. Another 10 seconds pass before Buster replied, "Boy, I hope not. That'd make me really sad." Do you ever get sad, Trevor? You know what, Buster? I really just want to read in silence. Okay? Oh. His favorite word. I read in wondrous wondrous quiet for a solid 10 minutes. A dull, quick thump, thump, thump. Broke the quiet with a steady rhythm. I froze in the wake of the thump, thump, thump. Thump, thump, thumping. There we go. He's not masturbating. I took a breath and slowly peered over the edge of the bunk. There it was. Buster right fist thumping 100 miles an hour. He stopped, looked at me, and smiled with a monotone hi. Hi. Without a word, I went back to reading. Between his thumping and body odor, our time out couldn't come fast enough. Make sure you take a shower. Buster nodded dumbly. I will. As the cell door opened, Buster headed to the shower. Buster headed to the shower I told him to use. The upstairs shower. While Jackson came over. You better not fight with your celly. You can tell he's got that retard strength. I rolled my eyes. Emphasis on retard. Well, at least your celly isn't a crybaby. It's like face the wall on your bunk and silently whimper. Silently whimper like a man. Silently whimper like a man. Silently whimper like a man. Agreed. Have you gone over the suicide options with him? He's too much of a pussy. Don't worry. Someday we'll find someone willing to take the plunge. The plunge was a 4-foot nosedive. Was a 4-foot nosedive off the top bunk onto the hard cement slab we called the ground. After much discussion, we were pretty sure that was the most foolproof option. It was the most foolproof suicide option. Jackson gave a sigh. I'm just tired of all his complaining. I might be looking to get rid of my celly. There are several ways to get rid of a celly. Getting in a scuffle with them is one. As long as there aren't marks or proof, then the one to complain gets moved. Another option is to explain the situation to mental health, asking them to please put in a request for a cell change. However, this can be slow and isn't guaranteed to work. A faster option is to get your celly to refuse housing or protective custody out, which will get them sent right to the hole. You can also accuse your celly of wrongdoing, sexual misconduct, or stealing are fan favorites to get someone out of your house and off to the hole. The problem with all these options is you never know what your new celly is going to be like. Sometimes it's better to accept the evil you know, like a complainer crybaby, than the risk the evil you don't. You might end up with a fat celly. Buster spent the time out showering, calling his mom, and watching TV. No matter what was on, Buster felt the need to add his commentary. Oh man, those idiots. Why don't they just jump into the water? They're so dumb. Those idiots. Idiots deserve to die. Watching Titanic. After the first day, everyone was ready for Buster to leave. As we re-entered my house, I noticed a familiar smell. Buster, I know I saw you take a shower. Yep. But you still smell. I do? He sniffed under his arm. Yes, you do. Why do you still stink, Buster? Well, he stared sheepishly. I forgot. Well, Buster said, well, I forgot soap. Now, tell me that. How on earth do you forget soap? How? It doesn't make any sense. It makes 0 sense to me. 0 cents. It doesn't make any sense. Do. Stretch. Water. Okay. Let's get back to it. Okay. I think that's better. So you went and got the soap you'd forgotten. He looked like a child who was caught with a hand in the cookie jar as he slowly responded, No. Okay, that was it. I wasn't here to babysit. I tossed him a deodorant stick and commanded him to put some on. Yeah, put some on. Put some deodorant on. Smell good. I then went back to reading and did my best to ignore the 5-year-old living in my house. As night approached, the thumping returned. I rolled my eyes as I jumped down to people watch the pod. Whoa! Blanket between his legs was billowing as I got down. He stared at me with wide, unblinking eyes. Hi. Were you masturbating? No. He said slowly with a smile. Knock that shit off. Save it for the fucking shower. And don't be a fag in my cell. Got that? Smile was gone now. Okay. So sorry, Trevor. We didn't speak for the rest of the night. I didn't feel bad about shouting at him. Sometimes you had to get a little loud and curse to get your point across. I did feel like the situation wasn't fair to me. Why did I get stuck with a child? Classifications should have had him in the mental pod. Where people on a lot of meds developmentally challenged or insanely loud or obnoxious belong. Who knew how long I could deal with Buster? The answer was 3 days. Second day was much like the first, but the third day began the tapping. Tap, tap, tapping. I was standing at the house window watching Deadpool when I heard a tap. I looked over at Buster, sitting at the desk, staring at the wall and breathing. Rhythmically. I watched as his left index finger slowly brought his finger up and then down on the desk. It wasn't a muffled thud, but a loud singing tap created by his fingernail coming in contact with the hard metal desk. As the tapping increased, oh my goodness. By clicking the bell icon. As the tapping increased, what are we doing? Tap, tap, tapping. Tapping created by the finger coming onto the metal desk. As the tapping increased, my nerves decreased. Hey, Buster. Please stop tapping. He didn't move, respond, or stop tapping. I did my best to ignore the sound and enjoy Deadpool. I succeeded for 30 seconds. Hey man, please stop. Isn't it affecting you? Boy, it was affecting me. Let me tell you right now. It isn't affecting you? Fuck you. It is affecting me. I'm trying to watch TV. Even I can hear the TV. All this is said without looking my way. It was all said without looking my way. Okay. Trying to stay calm and be understanding of Mr. difficultly abled. Well, I can't hear it over your tapping. They're saying I can't have this life without you. Buster, that isn't what they're saying. So you can hear it. Okay. Disabilities be damned. Buster! Switch the page. Stop tapping. It's a tick. I can't help it. Tap, tap, tap. Then tap on your pants leg or your bunk or your bunk mattress. It's a tick. Tap, tap, tap. I moved closer to him in one quick motion, finally drawing his attention. Stop fucking tapping on that fucking desk. You fucking... Disabilities be damned. I love that. Thanks, Becca. I mean, at some point you're stuck. Here's the deal, right? You're stuck in a box, in a concrete box that's literally 12 feet by 10 feet, right? Or 12 feet by 14 feet, something like that. And it's so small, you can't. There's no getting away with what he's doing. There's no getting away from the person. Stop fucking tapping on that fucking desk. You fucking... Here's where I say a bad word, guys. Retard. You fucking retard. This was yelled at the top of my lungs. And brought the entire pod to silence. I mean, the pod is always loud, right? But this was the grave. Silent like the grave. Buster sat wide-eyed, staring at me. Can you press the intercom button? No. You press the button. He did. I need to talk to mental health. Gal on the speaker said she'd let them know. I went back to watching Deadpool while Buster packed up all his things and sat quietly on the bunk, muttering to himself about going home. If he'd been suicidal or was trying to nonchalantly escape the cell without suspicion, and by the way, I'm just writing really quick. I'm not going to go through and edit everything until I'm done typing it all out, and then I'll go through and make it all pretty and fix all the spelling errors and typing errors. However, I do want to switch. I need to talk to mental health. It's an emergency. It's an emergency. I'm in danger. So, without suspicion, he'd have been out of luck. It took them close to 6 hours to allow Buster to see mental health. That was the last time I saw Buster. He went away to mental health. Then he went to the hole for refusing housing. I love when I think I mistyped and I didn't. A deputy came to get his things and asked if I'd threatened him. I told him no, and that I thought Buster's mental handicap impeded him from getting along with a cellmate. After that quick conversation, I enjoyed several weeks by myself. It was bliss. Leprechaun came by my door. What happened? What happened? The entire pod heard you roar. I quickly explained the situation. He was the fifth one to come ask for the details. As word spread, I was quickly getting a reputation as a badass who threw out any celly who got on his nerves. Who got on his nerves. Oh, stretch. Need some water. Best, who threw out any celly who got on his nerves. His nerves. I heard there was a secret chord. Leprechaun gave a low whistle. Just for tapping on the desk? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds bad. It sounds awful. Hey. Sounds awful. Oh, it's not that bad. Bad was B. He got rid of his celly by taking his clothes off and swinging his dick around, Ferris wheel style. Whoa. Did you get in trouble? Nope. Just claimed his celly was lying to get him in trouble. The cellmate was moved and B got to keep his cell to himself. Clearly, there are many ways to get a new celly. However, there's no way of knowing if one will be better than the last. And you may not want to give classifications deputies the idea that you're the problem. They seem to place problem inmates together and claiming the cellie is lying or acting up will only fly so often. My next few cellies were short stay cellmates. Guys who got bailed out quick or were only in max for disciplinary reasons and were quickly returned to the dorms. I hated that because of my charge. I'd always be stuck in a small cell while actually violent and disruptive inmates went to the dorms repeatedly, only to return a while later. Nothing about jail is fair. I got used to giving short stay cellies a basic lay of the land. Hi, my name's Trevor. Welcome to my house. These are my things. Don't touch them. Quiet time is midnight to 10 a.m. Plan your sleep accordingly. If you don't eat anything on your tray, I ask for first dibs. The calendar on the desk shows our timeout. Do your best to shit during those times so I'm not trapped with you in this confined space. Try your best to keep the cell clean. Use the garbage bag. Keep the floor clean. Keep the floor clear. And lean all the way down. Keep the floor clear and lean all the way down. And lean all the way down when spitting toothpaste so it doesn't get on our stuff or the mirror. Do all that and don't be a dumbass. And we'll get along great. And we'll get along great. Do you play cards or chess? Maybe dominoes? Maybe dominoes? Maybe dominoes. I yelled at a few of my cellmates. But we all got along okay for the most part. A large reason for these smooth relationships was my setting standards. And them not staying for extended extended period of time. Stretch. Oh, man. I gotta work out more. Gotta work out more. Extended period of time. Becca's comment is still the best. Disabilities be damned. I love that. Without fail, every silly had to be taught how to go potty. Eventually, nature calls, and timeout be damned. You just can't hold it in. You just can't hold it. The protocol, taking a shit in the cell, begins by informing your cellmate. The Bombay doors are opening. It's time to drop a massive payload. The cellmate then lays on their bunk, facing the wall, reading, giving maximum potty privacy. A sign announcing the deuce being taken is then hung in the window for added privacy from those walking by. The strolling bystanders appreciate it too. Insert my toilet sign. The cell is a small, confined space, so the rule is flush as you go and just keep flushing until ready to remove position from seat. Until ready to remove posterior from seat. From porcelain throne. No bowel movements should be heard over the sound of flushing. Unfortunately, this is easier said than done. To accomplish continuous flushing, the shitter must press a metal button directly behind the toilet user's back, requiring weight distribution focused on the right ass cheek and right arm, twisting 180 degrees with torso assistance. I suggest an attempt in this restroom technique to fully appreciate the shitty situation, the shitty position it is. The thing I had to get used to was just how cold my ass got. An all-metal toilet with freezing water swirling around in it makes for a chilling experience. Constant flushing should take care of the smell, but at times it's nice to hang an air freshener or rub a little deodorant on the vent. The shitty ritual is concluded by washing of hands and yelling to the cellie, "The time of darkness has passed. Bask in the light." Dun 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 dun. I watched from a safe distance as Deputy McGruff banged on B's door. "Take that sign down." I could hear the indignation in B's voice as McGruff looked straight over the sign at him. Bare ass on the toilet. "Hey man, I'm taking a shit." "I don't care. This is jail. There's no privacy in jail. Take it down." B removed the shit warning sign. Not sure why it mattered when the COs can just glance over the sign. Well, B learned that some deputies are assholes who will stare in at yours while in mid-defecation. Mid-defecation. This is why most inmates plan their shit and love-making sessions around the CO's walkthrough times. Right after walkthrough is also the safest time to pass contraband or use drugs. Altman, you're getting a cellie. They never warn you, give you any time to prepare for an added person in your small living space. If I'd known, I'd have gone one more pleasure session in. As I turned, I saw the man carrying a blanket and mattress towards my cell. Max. Semi-clean cut, sandy-haired guy. He looked alright. As we made introductions, I found out he was recreational drug user with a temper. So just like half the guys who came through Max, the other half were hardcore addicts who'd rip off someone's ear with their teeth just for a hit. As Max and I got to know each other, Rummy was our game. He got frustrated and quit any card games I tried to teach him. Dominoes was a stretch, and chess was too difficult. He liked poker, but I hated trying to play with only 2 people. It was it was all boring luck. But Rummy, we both enjoyed a good game of Rummy. We'd play all day long with games going to 10,000 points. Max turned out to be a nice guy with a good sense. With a good sense of humor. He kept the cell clean and respected my things. He was someone who I could actually see myself being friendly with on the outside. These first 3 days had gone great. So who's talking shit about me? I looked up from our card game. What? Max was staring at me with a newfound intensity. Max was staring at me with a newfound intensity. I can feel someone talking shit about me. Who is it? If someone's talking shit about you, I'm not aware of it. Why do you think someone's talking shit? Because I'm not stupid. I can feel their eyes on me and see them talking when my back is turned. Huh. Well, I haven't noticed anything. His that followed made it clear he wasn't sure I could be trusted. This was followed by 2 more great days before another question came out of left field. Who has a problem with me? You think someone has a problem with you? Yep. I waited for more of an explanation that clearly wasn't coming before finally prodding why. I'm not stupid. Okay. We sat in silence, cards still gripped tight, me wondering how to proceed. If anyone has a problem with you, I'm not aware of it. Again, my answer was not to be readily believed. Have you done anything? Have you done anything to get on anyone's bad side? I don't really see you interacting with others during our time out. No, but this is jail. I feel like someone's gonna beat me to send a message. Well, that was unexpected. I wouldn't worry about that, man. We have a pretty okay group of guys we're out with.
Here's the top search result.
Okay, thank you. I didn't ask for that at all. My goodness. I did not say, hey, Google. Now she's not going to do it. Hey, Google. Hey, Google. Oh, my God. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Siri. I don't know which is on here. I think I just say, hey, Google, right? And she's supposed to do her thing. Weird. Oh, my goodness. Excuse me. We have a pretty okay group of guys we're out with. Oh my goodness, now I've totally lost my place right now. Well, that was unexpected. Guys we're out with. Was the only response I got. 3 days later, I think Gramps wants to fuck me. What? Yeah, man. He keeps making eyes at me. I've known Gramps for many months by now. This accusation was incredibly perplexing. I didn't even know what to say, so I kept silent and drew the next rummy card. The next day, I kept an extra close eye on Gramps. As far as I could tell, the only person he seemed to care about was T-Lo on the TV. Oh, J-Lo. That's who it is. J-Lo on the TV. 4 days later, I was laying on my bunk reading as Max got up and asked, So do we have a problem? I looked away from my book to see Max staring at me with the intensity of a boxer awaiting the starting bell. Not that I'm aware of. Why? I can feel the tension between us. I wonder if Max's parents told him that his feelings were always valid. Clearly, they tended to be off the mark. Up until now, we hadn't even had an argument, let alone a hostile remark. If we have any tension, I'm not aware of it or what it might be about. You seem distant. Distant? What are we? A couple? I'm just really into this book. You tell me if we had a problem. Of course. Okay. And with that, he went back to reading. An hour later, we were playing rummy. Max's random spurts of paranoia baffled me. I decided to share my conversations with Jackson. Didn't you say meth was his drug of choice? Yeah. Dang it, I keep forgetting the little bam. I need to make sure I put quotation marks in, people. Well, paranoia feelings like you're describing are a side effect of meth. Huh. I wouldn't have thought of that. Yep. Just ignore the random paranoia. It'll typically pass quickly. It'll typically pass quickly. Alliteration. And that's just what I did. When he had a moment, paranoia, I downplayed it, and we went about our day. Aside from the few spurts of paranoia, he was the perfect cellmate. Clean, drama-free, drama and enemy-free, and a relatively intelligent conversationalist. We talked mostly about politics. We talked mostly about politics and religion. Religion. We talked mostly about politics and religion. Showed a lot of interest in my Christian faith. and I was happy to provide him with biblical reading. I'm a big fan of the book of Matthew. Being there to answer any questions Max had was actually fun for me. I had to research to pass the time until your freedom. Whoa, hey, did my live just like restart? My live timer just like went off and then came back on. Huh. Odd. Okay. Well, it looks like we're still going, so I'll keep going. Woohoo! Oh, give a little stretch real quick. Oh, there we go. A little stretch and a little water. Where are we at? Religion, faith, until your freedom. As that time continues to stretch out into more and more months, you'll try to pass the time doing things you never thought you'd do before. Hey Trevor, want to snort some sleeping pills with me? I looked up from my book. Excuse me? Max gave a sheepish look. Medical approved me for Seroquel, and I heard if you snort it, you get high for like 20 minutes before you pass out. You're gonna risk cheeking your meds? No. I'm gonna palm them. Or rather, drop them real quick from the cup into a sticky on the door. My parents didn't raise a druggie. I was always a good, clean kid. And snorting Seroquel seemed so juvenile with a hint of desperation. It's like what middle school kids raised in broken homes who were originally adopted do as a silent cry for help. And the possibility of feeling something other than soul-crushing loneliness. Hell yeah, I'll snort some with you. Such a good response. Hell yeah, I'll snort some with you. That night during MedPass, where they pass out the medications, I did my best to read my book inconspicuously while my cellie palmed his Seroquel. I held my breath. while both the fat nurse and deputy McGruff watched Max through the small window. He took the cup slightly above the door slit where the corrections staff couldn't see. He quickly dumped the pill into the shampoo sticker we had stuck to the door, and in one fluid motion brought the cup to his lips and swallowed down air with water. Ah! He showing under his tongue, as is the custom after taking. You gotta you gotta show them. You gotta be like, look, I didn't take anything. See, I didn't take anything after taking meds. I was about to wish my silly a nice stay in the hole as the nurse whispered something to McGruff. Out of the corner of my eye, I watched closely as the CO opened our cell door, looked Max up and down, surveyed the floor, scrutinized the sink, and closed the door. I couldn't believe he didn't see the huge sticker on the door he just opened. Max turned my way with a shit-eating grin as the nurse and deputy moved on to the next house. That was insanely close. You're so lucky. Yep. Max stood tall, hands on hips. Now, let's do some drugs. And we did. We snorted, crushed up Seroquel. And so and as promised, sometimes I have a hard time reading my own handwriting. I'm going so fast when I'm writing some of this stuff in cursive, let me tell you. And as promised, bum ba dum ba bum, we're rewarded with 20 minutes of fuzzy goodness, followed by a deep and restful sleep. With practice, Max got more fluid at his pill dumping and never got caught. Seroquel became one of my favorite ways to kill time. Seroquel, one of my favorite ways to kill time. in jail, peaceful sleep and fuzzy high head is a wonderful thing. It was a sad day when Max left my house for freedom. He didn't want to take a plea deal, but his lawyer scared him and told him proving his innocence wasn't worth risking the rest of his life. I wouldn't fall for these fear tactics. I, Trevor S. Altman, would clear my name of all wrongdoing. As Max gathered his things and left our cell for the last time, I offered him a fist bump. I wanted to give him a hug. I offered him a fist bump. I wanted to give him a hug. Bump, 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 bump. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious, goodness gracious. Oh. Well, guys, I'm incredibly hungry, and I think this is a good stopping point. Make sure that you look through and watch some of my others if you haven't seen them. I've done a couple of these now. Couple of these Write With Me sessions. I think I'm getting better at them as time goes on. I'm definitely getting better at talking while I'm typing. So that feels good. If you enjoy them, like them, and if you have any other readers or writers in your life who you think would enjoy them, share them with them as well. You can obviously find me on Patreon, where you can read the short stories that I'm writing right here. Although this isn't a short story, this is the actual memoir that I'm writing. So, yep. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day, and as always, enjoy what you read and